It is Monday, the 17th of June, 2024. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Here we are at the start of a new week, and I said yesterday that this week would be themed on summer. You may also recall that in the second week of this show, I covered two songs from the Andrew Huang series of albums about the seasons. I did Love Number 1 and Love Number 2 from the Autumn album, and I decided, pretty early on in conceiving this podcast, that I would do the title tracks of each season album in those seasons of the year. So today we are talking about the song Summer from the album Summer by Andrew Huang. This is the very first track on the album, and it was the first album released in the series, so strictly speaking, it's the start of the whole thing. And that wasn't intentional here, funnily enough, because, I originally had planned to start this podcast in, September last year, but it's actually very fitting that we ended up starting this show just before summer. So, yeah, I don't think I have too much to say about the song until we've listened to it. It's pretty short, it's pretty simple. This probably won't be a very long episode, but actually, is this my least favorite of the four season songs? No, I wouldn't say so. I think autumn might be, or spring. All I know is that winter is my favorite of the four. Anyway, that's besides the point. We'll get there. So let's listen to the song now and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. There it is. Short and simple. Real good, upbeat, feel-good music, What I love about this, because the summer album itself is kind of a mix of rock. It's mostly pop rock, but there's also some quieter acoustic stuff in there as well, And, oh man, I can't wait to talk about In the Sun. Oh, I love that song. The video. Anyway. So what I love about this is that it's the opener for the whole project. It's the opener for the album, and it's short and simple and to the point, and it feels like a really standard song like you would hear on the radio. A lot of people in the comments on the music video saying you'd imagine it in a feel-good movie. I can hear it in a trailer. One person said it's playing while you're shopping in the Gap. It has this kind of feel to it. It very much feels like kids hanging out in the summer, which obviously comes a bit from the lyrics. We'll get to that. But what I love really about this is that even though it has this sort of standard pop rock feel, and it feels like I've heard songs like this before, it's Andrew Huang making it. So even when he's making fucking pop music, it's still in 7-4. It's not a 4/4, 4 on the floor type song or whatever. It's do 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 do. Do 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 do. He can't stop doing weird time signatures, and you love to see it. I shouldn't say weird, irregular time signatures. It's not 4/4. Even 3/4 and 5/4 are more typical in pop. You hear them a bit. 7/4. In my head, for some reason, I specifically associate 7/4 with metal. Maybe it's just because I listen to prog, so I'm used to weird time signatures in metal. But Andrew Huang is the kind of guy who takes simple concepts and puts so much thought into them, That's how so many of his concepts turn out. He has a song called Nostalgia, which it's a rap song, and the beat feels weird and kind of syncopated. And then you realize that it's in 15/8 time, I think, which is just ridiculous. He didn't need to do that, but it's fun. It's got a very unique feel to it. And this is similar here, where even though it has a relatively standard construction that you feel like you've heard before, there's a uniqueness added to it by being in a weird time signature, I like that about it. There's also a music video, which is largely just high contrast footage of Andrew playing bass, dancing around, playing with balloons, laughing, having a good time. It fits the vibe well. I do enjoy that he's only playing the bass in the video, and so during the guitar solo, the camera zooms in on the bass a bit, as if he's playing the guitar solo on the bass, but he's still just playing the same do 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 as he's playing in the whole song. It's a funny moment to me. But yeah, so let's talk about the lyrics. New moms blowing bubblegum, kids running with their water guns, a little help from my friends and I get by. Immediately makes me think of American Suburbia, which is funny because Andrew Huang is not American, but it's what this makes me think of, and it's what helps with this vibe of teen movies and stuff, is moms blowing bubblegum, kids running with water guns. It very much feels like you're in a cul-de-sac in American Suburbia. This sprinkler's going off, someone's using a hose, and then the A Little Help from My Friends and I Get By is a reference to With a Little Help from My Friends by the Beatles. feels. Who can tell if we'll get too far playing tunes in living rooms and bars, but I'm making moves in the summer of '09 and I don't want to go home yet. Now, I've always assumed this is like kind of a meta lyric about the Your Heart project and the Seasons project itself, right? He doesn't know if it'll get far playing tunes in living rooms and bars, but I'm making moves in the summer of '09. Like, it seems to just generally be a statement on if he'll be a successful musician. And obviously, he's way more successful than he was. Oh God, this song came out 15 years ago. Jesus fucking Christ. That's over half my life ago. Ay, ay, ay. So, it's a general statement on his career, I think, but I do think it's interesting that he's making moves in the summer of '09, like he's starting this project, The refrain of I don't want to go home yet I really like because it fits this vibe of like, I can picture it as kids in high school hanging out with their friends and not wanting to go home because they want to just hang out forever. Then the second verse is cotton dresses and a bubble tea, the sand sinking down under me, not a whole lot of money to get spent. Blue skies tell me how do you do, I've always got a love song for you, we get along so famously, my friend. Now this moves it from suburbia to the beach, right? The sand sinking down under me, not a whole lot of money to get... Actually, what's interesting about this is that it's cotton dresses and a bubble tea. I wouldn't have known what a bubble tea was in 2009. We didn't have those in Ireland, but they're everywhere now. I think I first had one in like 2014 or 2013. Couldn't stand it, still can't. I don't like tea in general, but also I don't like the tapioca balls. Anyway, so what I find interesting here, the blue skies tell me how do you do, I've always got a love song for you, we get along so famously, my friend. It feels like those are separate thoughts, and he's like talking to a specific person. I've got a love song for you, we get along so famously, my friend. But it also sounds like he's talking to the weather, like the summer vibes are a love song from the world to the people. Which I think is a nice concept. And if that's not what Andrew meant, I might write that song because that's immediately giving me ideas. And then the repeat of I don't want to go home yet over and over again. What I love, by the way, is that most of the song is like, I'm not good at music theory yet. I'm not fully good on my ear of hearing the difference between major and minor chords, but I believe that most of the song is in major, except for the I don't want to go home yet, because it does feel different, right? New moms blowing bubble gum, kids running with their water guns. It sounds very bright and happy, and then I don't want to go home yet. It feels kind of sinister, and it feels like he is going to be literally dragged away, and I like the contrast there because it stops it from being too carefree. It kind of gives that underpinning of like, summer is great and fun and bright and happy, and it ends eventually. I think that's interesting. Synergy in the music and the lyrics. There's the guitar solo at the end, as I mentioned before. It's just a good guitar solo, not particularly complicated. And then the song immediately goes into the next song, which if you're watching the video is also included. So it's kind of inseparable in my head. It doesn't just end at do 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 do. In my head it goes do 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 do. Don't think I have much else to say about this. It's a fun song. Makes me think of summers I've seen in the movies, because you don't get those summers in Ireland. Well, you do now because of global warming, but so that's pretty much it, I think, for today. We're going to have a lot more of a classic song tomorrow. In the meantime, give me a subscription, a like, a comment, recommend me to a friend or an enemy or whoever you want to. Do whatever you like. I'm not your dad, I'm not your mom, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
Because it does feel different, right? The new mom, new mom's blowing bubble gum. Recommend me to a friend or a family or an enemy. A family.